Child, I have been telling y'all about this for a minute. And I keep saying that what is going on that hill is not logical. But there are still many who do not believe. But there is one lady who I came across who can explain it. Listen up.
Did you know that the word Maga translates to many different things in other languages? For example, in Japanese, it means wickedness, evil, calamity, and disaster. It is a slang word in Nigeria meaning sucker, fraud victim, or easily fooled idiot. It means lies in Zulu. This word means dragon in Sudanese. It also translates to witch in Latin. Maga is the name of the highest rank in the Church of Satan. It means swelling or inflamed in Filipino. Maga can be translated to many different things in many different languages. I think it's kind of telling, don't you?
I have been saying this, that what is going on is not logical, but it is indeed spiritual. All you have to do is look at all of the chaos, how fast and furious is happening. All right. Many of us have gotten so far away from God. Oh, we know about him. You understand? But we really, really don't believe in him. And we really, really don't believe that there is an enemy of mankind. We don't believe that. But all you have to do is look at everything that's going on. Number one, Satan is the author of confusion. We need to know that. You need to know that. And everything that is going on is confusing. Everything that they're trying to break people so bad, all right, that you become oppressed, which is going to go into depression, and everything is shut down, and you will have no choice but to follow them. I keep telling you this, but do not follow them. They're putting all this money into so-called AI, $500 billion. This is what this administration has decided that they were going to do. You understand? But I need to warn you about that, because Elania has also, he has a company of whereas they are indeed putting chips in people's hands and their foreheads. Look it up for yourself. Now, when I was 25 years old, I heard about that chip in the hand or the forehead, and I was always told that it was the enemy's mark. It was his mark, and do not get it. Okay? Be aware. Open your eyes. If people are going around here talking about hashtag woke, but you're not woke about the right thing. You're not woke about the right thing. What is going on is demonic. It is demonic, and you need to know that. Know it. And then handle yourself accordingly. This is a come to Jesus moment, baby. Get it together now. This is why everything's happening. Yes, God allowed this to happen because the people said, guess what? This is what we want. So he gave you what you want. Huh? Now you see all the destruction of your decision. Oh no. This is horrible. This is evil. He even put himself in the Pope's attire. I'm sending out all kind of warnings now, and it's not so much about this nation as it is about humanity, as it is about spirituality, and whether you believe in it or not. I can almost guarantee you, when and if something happens to you, the first name and you gonna call is God's. You understand? Because you want him to pull you up out of trouble. And wouldn't it be a sad thing if he says, I know you not? Baby, the enemy don't love nobody. Oh no, he loves nobody. And for the ones that's following him, he's telling you all kinds of lies, and you're quick to believe it. But guess what? Devastation will come to you as well, because the enemy loves no one, and you're going to find that out soon, and very soon. You stay close to God. You understand him? You go to him. You get refuge under him. He said evil times were coming, and they are indeed coming. They're not just here just yet. Oh, but they're coming. Look at everything that's happening. And the root of all evil is money. And that is exactly what they're doing, to the point that they're going to even put, trying to take out student loans from folks who are over 62 who are only getting Social Security. They wanted to take their whole check. They don't care what happens to you, because I'm going to tell you something. That money is going in their pockets. They have to figure out a way that they are going to get that $4.5 trillion that budget, that House passed. And Social Security is number one. It has a $2 trillion surplus, and they want to take it. Just like these tariffs. He keeps talking about it's a beautiful thing, because they are lining their pockets with the money that's going to come from the tariffs. Don't you understand that? And then the American people are having to pay for it. But I'm going to take you back. I got to bring you back. This is bigger. This is not logical. Please open up your heart. Remove the thorns, honey, and run to God, because that is the only one that is going to bring you through this fire. Oh, because there's a fire coming. There's a fire indeed coming. Power to the people. God bless you. God bless you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Do it.
When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
When a neighbor comes for a visit, you don't talk about taking over their house and that it would be better for them. I'm embarrassed, deeply embarrassed for my country. And if we lived in a normal country, every major politician would be condemning Donald Trump, our president, right now for his belligerence toward Canada. But we don't live in a normal country right now. You know, America, like all countries, is a beautiful place. Look where I am right now, Hermosa Beach, Los Angeles. But it also, like all countries, has some obnoxious, loud, crude people. And right now, America's president, its leader, is loud, obnoxious, belligerent, and embarrassment. And let's face it, not right in the head. And right now, our leader thinks he can be a playground bully, not just to Canada, but to the entire world, and succeed through his belligerence. That's not how the world works. We're one country out of many, and face it, we're not that special. This is a path to both embarrassment and failure.
So I wanted to address a certain amount of videos that are flowing around from certain Maga favorable content creators in regards to the China trade dispute. Obviously, there's a big dispute going on, and there's these videos flowing around, again, from certain Maga contributors, that the United States is going to cut off oil and gas supply to China, and it will strangle them and it will destroy their economy. And these videos are trying to give the impression the United States has some kind of strength in this area. I want to get some fact out there to you guys who might be watching this. Do you realize how much oil and gas the United States exports to China? Any numbers out there? It's probably about 1.1, at a maximum 1.2%. It's globally insignificant. China gets its oil from Russia, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Canada, Brazil. Do you really think that you're going to strangle an economy by omitting 1.1 or 1.2% of oil and gas? They'll just get it from somewhere else. There's tons of suppliers. So I just wanted to get that information out. The source for this one is me. Folks, my name is Nick. The reality here is this. When it comes to oil and gas, the United States, China does not need you. My name is Nick. Feel free to give me a follow and let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Trump's still mad that he didn't win an Emmy. Okay. The election interfering 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, which aired on CBS just before Election Day and deep into early voting, turned out to be much worse than expected. I'll address that. With her answers being unlawfully mixed fixed, manipulated, and doctored throughout by CBS in order to try and make Kamala appear at least somewhat coherent. Batteries, Sharks, Hannibal Lecter. The full transcript with 60 Minutes CBS and Paramount tried to hide from the American people and refused to release it until after I was inaugurated. Yeah, this was released back in February. It confirmed that it was just normal editing. Yeah, should just be a case closed, but he's weaponizing the judicial system. Anyway, we continue on. It was nothing but fake, corrupt, anti-Trump propaganda. On top of all that, and a total slap in the face to anyone who believes in truth and honest journalism, this fake news puff piece has now been nominated for an award by the totally discredited Emmys. They're only discredited because he didn't win. Did 60 Minutes and its corporate parents apply to get an Emmy in an illegal interview? Fake outlets, blah, 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 blah. These antics are why the American people have no trust in the press. It's not that I've been screaming fake news, Lugenpresse. I've taught them well. Only believe me. They'll be held responsible for their corruption and lies, which is exactly what we're doing in court. Good luck with that. Oh, and I have to add this on too. Another thing that he's whining about, the pesky little, equal branches of government, that Constitution. Our court system is not letting me do the job I was elected to do. Activist judges must let the Trump administration deport murderers and other criminals who've come into our country illegally without delay. I don't like being told no. Mommy and Daddy always gave me what I wanted growing up. Anyway, yeah, the pesky little Constitution requires due process. Those judges are upholding the Constitution. And by the way, can you give us, because you are transparent, a list of all the crimes of the people that you deported to El Salvador? Yeah, name by name. Good. Give us their criminal record.
In case any leftists or progressives were still following the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur just had somebody on his show yesterday that you probably don't want to hear from, right? Who would that be? If you said, Marjorie, traitor, greenhouse gas emissions, you are correct. Margarine went on the Young Turks and had an interview with Cenk Uygur that was super friendly and nice. Right. Sounds like a real progressive to me. I'm sorry, guys, but if you're still following TYT, just admit that you're part of the bad guys. Because, that's obviously who they're catering to now. Yeah, they put some left stuff on there occasionally, but he thought we needed to hear from MTG. Now, of all times. Oh, didn't a war just break out between two nuclear powers? Shouldn't we be more concerned about that? Cenk Uygur's a traitor, BT dubs. Just needed you to know, TYT is funded by Peter Thiel now. Yeah. That's why they changed the name of their studio. They were never progressives, guys. Cenk Uygur used to be a Republican. He's a piece of human waste who just plays a decent dude on TV sometimes. He's not a very good actor, as it turns out. So, really, the leftists you should be following in the new media space are not TYT. You need to be following Kyle Kulinski. You need to be following the Damage Report. You need to be following the fucking Vanguard. Yeah? The Drain. DC Drain. Yeah? Roland. You need to follow Roland, for sure. Roland Martin, for sure. And I know Dr. Rashad is on fucking TYT, guys. I know that. But TYT's evil now. Yeah, the good stuff that's on their channel is there just to appease you. Don't do it. I'm pissed about it too, because he's a good guy and he says good stuff, but he needs to get off TYT. He needs to join another network, because, Let's go follow Adam Mockler and Luke Beasley. Let's go follow, what's that one guy's name? Go follow Brittany Page, okay? Farron. Go follow, what's his name? The guy that's hilarious. Ex-military. What's his name? I can't remember. Follow Midas Touch, okay? Don't follow TYT. I mean, having their hosts go around on all the right-wing podcasts and chit-chat with the hosts was bad enough, but inviting MTG of all people onto their show, I don't want to hear from her. Nothing she says is true. Why would I ever want to hear from her? You're just giving a platform to her narcissism. It's disgusting. But again, funded by Peter Thiel now.
So today we're finding out that little Beelzebub incarnate, Stephen Miller, is suing Chief Justice John Roberts and the Supreme Court. Why? Because Beelzebub feels that since Roberts penned the decision to give syphilitic Sid immunity for presidential acts, he should be allowed to do everything he's doing right now. And that the courts have no jurisdiction over anything that he's doing. The courts have no right to block him from doing the foolishness that he's doing, whether it's the bribes, the deportations, the tariffs, all of that. He feels like syphilitic Sid is basically our new king, and he can do whatever he wants to do, and he's above the law. I believe that Roberts never expected syphilitic Sid to go back in office. Now, Judge Ludick, he's a conservative judge, federal judge, retired, said that the court runs on the rule of law and norms, right? So, for example, if you are held in contempt of court, you pay a fine, you go to jail, you do whatever. If you are subpoenaed, you're supposed to show up. And syphilitic Sid has defied everything, right? But when Roberts penned that decision, he never expected syphilitic Sid to go back in office. He always anticipated that anybody who would hold that office would have integrity and a conscience and would do the right thing, and that would not act above the law. He never expected the lawlessness that we're seeing now. So I say, I love this for Johnny, one apple, two apple. I love that for him. And I really want to see how this is going to play out. Because if leopards were eating faces, this is it. This is it. And I love this. I love this for Chief Justice Roberts. Also, I think we need to normalize not calling it the Supreme Court when they do the foolishness. We need to lay the blame squarely on the right-wing crazy MAGA side of the court. Alito, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, Barrett, all of them. All them justices that are right-leaning, that side with the foolishness. We need to blame that on them. Syphilitic Sid has faced no accountability. Roberts is about to face his accountability for the decisions that he made. I am going to enjoy watching this play out. Y'all get your popcorn because I feel like this is going to be a good one.
The Trump administration is now so triggered by the mere mention that women exist that Pete Hegseth recently announced he was canceling the Women, Peace, and Security program, apparently unaware that the program was touted by Donald Trump himself as one of the biggest accomplishments of his first term as president after he signed it into law in 2017 via legislation that was co-sponsored by both Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem, both currently members of Trump's cabinet. Last week, Pete Hegseth tweeted, "This morning, I proudly ended the Women, Peace, and Security program inside the Department of Defense and claimed that it was a United Nations program pushed by feminists and left-wing activists." You know, all those feminists and left-wing activists that famously make up the Trump administration. And look, this is obviously very stupid, and it's also a very excellent example of how the Trump administration is literally just arbitrarily ending programs and firing people simply because the program mentions the existence of women or queer folk or people of color or disabled people. But ending the WPS is also incredibly dangerous, and ending the program would do the exact opposite of what Pete Hegseth is claiming. It would put our troops and the world at a higher danger. Exactly why the WPS is so important was highlighted by Lieutenant General Mark Hertling in the Bulwark recently. When he was a commander during the surge in Iraq, there was a massive uptick in the number of suicide vest bombings being carried out by women and girls. And for a long time, both Iraqi and American troops could not figure out how they could stop this, especially given that in Iraqi culture, male police officers are not allowed to search women and girls because of modesty laws. And so was taking advantage of this by fitting out women and girls with these vests and sending them into crowded places, knowing that they could not get stopped and searched because there were not female officers to do the search. It was only once a lower level female soldier suggested to the lieutenant general that they hold a women's conference for women in the region and talk to them about how to address the issue that they were able to make headway. It was through the chain of events set into progress by holding that women's conference that they were able to figure out that the majority of the women being fit with these vests were the former teen brides of fighters who had been forced to marry these men against their will. And after their husbands were killed in fighting, these women were told there was nothing left for them in this world. No food, no relationships, no money, nothing. They were literally told, you no longer have a place in society. Your only remaining thing left to do is to wear this vest and kill yourself, taking out as many innocent people as possible when you do. Because they had that conference, they were able to figure out what social manipulation was being used against these women, these victims. And as a result, they were able to nearly eliminate the use of female suicide bombs in the region. Had they not had the women's conference and involved women in the discussions around how to address this issue, more innocent Iraqis would have been killed, more victims of abuse by Al-Qaeda would have been killed, and more U.S. troops would have been killed. And while that particular scenario happened before WPS was signed into law in 2017, that is the exact type of scenario that WPS is designed to address. But Pete Hegseth wants to get rid of it because anything with women in the title must obviously not be good for the military. But that isn't surprising coming from a man who has made it very clear throughout his entire career, way before he even became Secretary of Defense, that he thinks that women have no place on the front lines. And apparently, he is so committed to that ideology that he's willing to both dismantle the Trump administration's own policy accomplishments and make American troops less safe in the process.
Okay, so I, in real time, explained to my mom how tariffs work. And for the first time in a long time, I saw her face change, almost as if something clicked. I make bracelets. I buy my beads from China most of the time off of eBay or Amazon, but they generally come from China. I've always charged $5 for a bracelet. Now, if I pay $10 for a strand of beads and they put a 100% tariff on that, that strand of beads goes from $10 to $20. It doubles in price. That strand of beads only makes 2 bracelets. So they've actually put 145% tariff. So that strand of beads would go from $10 to $25 with the tariffs. And it makes 2 bracelets. I can't eat selling 2 bracelets for $10 when I just spent $25 on beads. So who's gonna have to up their price on bracelets? Me. Because otherwise there's no point in buying beads for $25, making the bracelet and selling it for $10. And literally, it was like a little switch went off in our brain that consumers ultimately will pay for these tariffs.
Lincoln, Nebraska had general elections yesterday, and all I got to say is that the voters showed up, turned out, and voted for their best interests. We had 3 city council positions open, all went to Democrats. We had a Board of Education and a airport authority position open, also went to Democrats. There was also an initiative on the ballot to end housing discrimination for those that receive Section 8, Lincoln Housing Authority, and other means of assistance for rental help. All landlords now can no longer discriminate against low-income people, and they have to accept any form of income they may have or funding they may receive as part of their income. There were so many landlords were saying no housing authority accepted, no Section 8, no, rental assistance programs. It's been going on for years here, and yesterday Lincoln showed out and said, we're going to go with help. We're going with a Democrat agenda, which is for the people, and the GOP members didn't even come close. They weren't even in contention. So Lincoln, Nebraska is a blue city. We only don't get to show that in our general elections on the presidential races because they gerrymandered us and put us in with a bunch of rural counties, which offset the numbers for the city of Lincoln. But Lincoln is, just like Omaha, a blue city.
I have seen a lot of videos like this, and while it's great and it's fabulous to hear that people regret voting for Donald Trump, everyone that I know that voted for Donald Trump were voting for him for all the things that he's actually doing right now. That's what they wanted. And while these videos are talking about, I regret my vote, and they're crying and they're sad and they seem like they really feel some kind of way about voting for him, the things that they're mentioning that they're upset about, like why they voted for him and, these things, whatever they're crying about, still has to do with them. She is saying that she's crying and saying that she regrets voting for him, which I'm gonna level with you guys. I'm an empath to a fault. I feel bad even for like the bad guys in the movies when something happens. Like, I tend to still see a spark of goodness in people. At least I try to, and so some of these people, some of these farmers that voted red, some of these people's small businesses that are collapsing and, they're having a hard time. Like, there is still a part of me that feels bad for them. But they do not feel bad for all the bad things that this man has been doing, executive orders, all these things he's been canceling and cutting funding for, and all these things that help lower income people of color, immigrants. They aren't upset that he's doing those things, and that's why they're crying on these videos saying they regret voting for him. No. They are upset they voted for him because he is only helping his billionaire friends, and their small businesses are sinking. They are having to pay more for groceries. They're having to pay more for gas. Their hours at work are getting cut, whatever, because the economy sucks. He is destroying everything. Everything is on fire. But you guys voted for this. You did this. And it's really hard for me to not only empathize with someone that voted for him, knowing the kind of person that he is. He made it fully, you guys knew what kind of person he was. And you aren't sad because he's hurting other people. Still, you are still worried about yourself. You are only worried about something when it affects you. You don't care if it's affecting the LGBTQ community. You don't care if it's affecting people of color or lower income communities or immigrants or anything. You only care when it affects you. And you cannot even start to put yourself in someone else's shoes and try to empathize with them or anything. You guys are only worried about yourselves. And this video is a prime example of that. She is not sad for anything bad that has happened to anybody else, and that's why she regrets her vote. She regrets her vote because she thought she was getting something good by voting for a schmacist, schmomophobic, terrible human being. And now she's like, I don't know, somehow surprised. I don't know, especially at this point. I don't know how you're surprised at this point. Like, we are way into the game. But it is hard for me to see someone that has a family, that they're not doing well financially and they're crying That is hard for someone like me. But I realized when I watched this video, I was more pissed than I was feeling like empathy for her. And that is something very new for me.